Bitcoin miner Stronghold Digital is significantly restructuring its debt and said negotiations with lenders was the reason for the delays in releasing its quarterly earnings report. Joining us now to discuss is Greg Beard. He's co-chairman and CEO of Stronghold Digital Mining. Welcome.
Thanks for having me.
So in a notice to the SEC, Stronghold said that debt restructuring and refinancing agreements were necessary to, and I'll quote, the company to be able to continue as a going concern for at least the next 12 months. Can you explain what you mean by that?
Yeah, that's a technical accounting definition, going concern. I think really our point is that we are, because we're vertically integrated and own our own power assets, we can make more money today selling power than we can mining Bitcoin. And in that context, it made sense to choose to return our 26,000 Bitcoin mining assets to the lender instead of service that debt. So I think
So basically, you've become almost a power company, if you will, rather than a mining company. Is that essentially what you're saying here?
Well, we've started as really as a reclamation business, because our business is to clean up the waste coal piles that exist across Pennsylvania, and we use that waste to generate power and sell it into the open market. We found that we had a more economic advantage when we use that power to mine Bitcoin, but the reverse is true today. And so we still retain about 16,000 Bitcoin mining machines and have 26,000 empty Bitcoin mining slots, which we expect to fill again. And so I think we absolutely are going to return to Bitcoin mining when the economics support it. But when you combine a big debt burden with a marginally economic business, which Bitcoin mining is today, it made sense to return those miners and extinguish that debt, which was our choice to do.
So if I'm to get it correct, then you were highly leveraged, and then and you essentially you do your mining. For folks that don't know Stronghold, you do most of your mining is waste coal, right? And you're in you said Pennsylvania, correct? So it's mostly Pennsylvania. Any other states and any other places where you're just basically taking waste coal, which is coal that otherwise wouldn't be used. You were using it to mine Bitcoin, and now you're just making energy because the price of energy has gone up. So as part of the process, if I'm correct, you lowered that leverage, you decreased that leverage, but what did it cost you in the process of doing that?
Yeah, that's the great news is we decreased the leverage by more than $70 million. And in terms of our revenue and cash flow, it costs us very little, maybe 10% of our revenue and cash flow have now declined, but in exchange for that, the extinguishment of more than half of our debt was a very good trade for us. And just to put this into context, right now we're selling power at prices that you would need Bitcoin to be north of $50,000 per coin to duplicate, given the current hash rate. So it's an advantageous time in the power markets that allowed us to essentially eliminate all this debt, have 26,000 empty slots that we can refill when it makes sense to refill them, which we will do when the economics justify it. But we really we've lost very little on the revenue and cash flow side.
So now, basically, though, what you're saying is that unless the price of Bitcoin gets above, let's say, 50,000, all things being equal, you're not going to get back into the crypto mining business, the Bitcoin mining business, anytime soon, at least at the scale that you did. The lender of these machines, who were they? Who were lending these? Who were loaning these machines to you guys?
Oh, I think we had some of the biggest lenders in the space that people know. I don't want to, speak. I don't want to hurt their reputation at all by saying they had these machines returned to them. They were it was a very amicable deal where we cooperated with each other to get these machines back in their hands. But that detail is in the release. So,
of course, you guys Stronghold is seen as a waste coal miner and potentially more environmentally friendly than other users of electricity. House lawmakers sent 4 miners, including Stronghold, letters asking for details on your environmental impact. Have you responded? And if so, what did you respond?
Yeah, so Elizabeth Warren sent us a letter a few months ago that we responded to. And then we received another inquiry from the House in this past week, and we intend to respond to that one as well. I think the big misunderstanding around Bitcoin mining and around renewable energy generally is that as a country, the more solar and wind we add to the grid, of course, it makes sense to decarbonize our electricity generation, but we're destabilizing the grid in doing so and simultaneously increasing the average price of power for consumers. One of the ways that we can return that stability to the grid and decrease pricing is to use Bitcoin mining data centers as essentially load banks. And
So,
so that means that when the grid needs our power and prices are high, we'll absolutely divert all the power to the grid to meet the needs of the consumer and to return that stability to the grid because, hey, the sun doesn't always shine and the wind doesn't always blow. And because it doesn't make sense to install grid scale batteries that'll only last for a few hours, and by the way, the environmental detriment of those is worse than probably anything we're talking about. And Bitcoin mining is a way to return that stability without increasing pricing to the consumer.
So now, SDIG, the stock, Stronghold Digital stock, is down roughly 90% since the IPO. Now, you're basically, it almost seems like you're trying to reposition, or you're repositioning yourselves as almost an energy company. Is this a sign of the times? Is this basically, do you think the crypto winter will continue? As you said, your threshold seems to be about 50,000. Do you think we'll be below 50,000 for some time to come, and you'd like to be positioned as an energy company?
No, I think that our benefit was always that we have the benefit of the arbitrage between power pricing and Bitcoin mining economics. So if power prices are high, we'll sell power. If power prices are low, we'll pull that power from the grid and run a Bitcoin mining data center from that. And most Bitcoin miners don't have that ability to arbitrage. They only can benefit if Bitcoin mining economics are good enough to run those machines. So we have the benefit of winning multiple ways. Because right now, if we were just a Bitcoin miner and weren't a power generator, we wouldn't be able to service our debt and we wouldn't be an economic enterprise. But thankfully, we have the benefit of owning our power assets, and we simply choose the most economic way to hit our revenue and cash flow needs. And we do it while we're cleaning the environment, and we do it while we're stabilizing the grid.